It's time for the Spoony One! Wrestling Show! It's time for the Spoony One! Wrestling Show!
Please excuse me if I seem in fouler temperament than usual. I'm on, my third and a half day of a fairly persistent migraine. Migraines are my curse. We all have our cross to bear, so to speak. Migraines are mine. I'm a connoisseur of headaches, actually. If you can name the headache, I pretty much have it. I suffer also from what is called chronic daily headaches, or what my doctor called that. Partially from a caffeine addiction, which is why I can't really have caffeine anymore. So I used to drink an absurd amount of sodas back in the day. I actually don't drink that much soda anymore because of caffeine. So if I drink caffeine now, I get a massive headache. And so what would happen was I was on a constant caffeine high. And so when I would stop drinking the caffeine, I would actually go into withdrawal. Oh my God, it was so bad. So if I drink caffeine, I immediately get back on the horse. So I still have the odd Mountain Dew because I've got it bad, man, but I really shouldn't. So I get rebound headaches, but yeah, migraines are the worst. If you have migraines, you can sympathize probably. If you don't, you have no idea. But this one, it lasts. Anyway, Hell in a Cell. This was tonight's pay-per-view. This didn't help. This one's a tough one. Because I hated it. I really hated it. And people are gonna... In fact, I was talking about it on Twitter, and yes, I was talking about it on Twitter. It's work-related, so... I kind of recap it. I kind of like recap it on Twitter. It's layoff. It's what I do. It's kind of whatever. So I'm talking about it, and people are talking like I'm out of my mind. They're like, "This is a really good show. What are you talking about?" And you know what? It's exactly my point in a way that you know what? It probably was a good show. In fact, I'm sure it was. In fact, it was probably a really good show. I can't tell anymore. I can't. And the problem is, there's a few problems. And when I get into the matches, I'll kind of tell you why in a minute. In fact, it's kind of the story of all the matches. The story of Hell in a Cell here is that I've seen it. You've seen it. You've seen all of it already. And you've seen it last week, and you saw it the week before, and the week before, and before that, and before that, and before that. In fact, you saw it last month, and you saw it the month before that, and the year before that, and the year before that, and 10 years before this, 15 years before. I can't stand it. I can't. And it's not just Cena and Orton, although that's the bow on the package, isn't it? I'm so tired. This is the third time. No kidding. The third time they've promised the capstone to their epic over 13 years, whatever number they've attached to it, over a decade-long feud that's stretched down through the centuries. Might as well be. This is the third time they've promised the final end to it, the Final Fantasy end. I still remember to this day the match they had where the stipulation was they would never wrestle again. Because by that point, people were so sick of watching them wrestle. The whole point of it was they would never wrestle again. And that was the match where he tried to murder him with explosives. Orton tried to murder him with explosives. But okay, it was probably 4 years later or something like that, where they, whatever, short memories. And then came the title unification match, which was really not that long ago, where they unified the WWE and World Heavyweight titles. That was not that long ago. And then comes Hell in a Cell, which was basically thrown together for no reason. They were just like, well, we need a main event. These two aren't doing anything, so you guys want to have a match? Why not? Oh, but it's the most epic capstone to the feud ever. You guys should care now. And they tried to make us care about this, and they tried to all of a sudden make this about history, and all of a sudden, like, oh no, this is the final battle. And I'm like, you've done this twice before. I don't care. I just don't care. This could have been a fantastic match, and it wasn't, because I gritted my teeth and I forced myself to. I had to. It hurt. April watched this match because she really does not have much of a history watching these matches, although she has already seen John Cena and Randy Orton fight probably about 6 times, because the last 4 weeks has been the exact same match. Well, not exact, but like the same match with slight variations. It's been a handicap match with Dean Ambrose and John Cena against some combination of Seth Rollins, Kane, and Randy Orton on one team, be it a street fight, a normal tag match, or whatever. The last 4 weeks have been like that. Every week on Raw for the last 4 weeks. It's pathetic. You think I'm kidding? If you haven't watched Raw, I'm serious. That's what it's been. And there's been probably, I think, 27, 28 singles matches over the years between John Cena and Randy Orton. But if you count multi-person matches, you count tag matches, triple threats, Hell in a Cells, elimination chambers, the number is mind-boggling. There's probably not an official count, but it's definitely well over 100. Probably around 125. Yeah. I mean, I've been there since the beginning, really. I'm so tired. And that's just one. That's just one of the matches. I will go down basically all the matches on this thing, and it's just remarkable. And the pre-show was... Even the pre-show match, I've seen it so many times. And it's pretty much the only match that... It's the only match that really has the least history. Was Mark Henry versus Bo fucking Dallas. And the story of this is that Bo Dallas has beaten Mark Henry 3 times. They've already had 3 matches on TV. And so the story is that Bo has Mark's number. And so Mark squashed him in 8 seconds. Oh well. Bo's gimmick is already wearing, paper thin. Where all people are already starting to figure out all he does is just come out and says, "Bo, leave." It's over. It's really pretty much over for him unless he comes up with something new. That's it. I'm bored with him. Mark Henry, I was pretty sure he was turning heel on this show. More on that later. First match on the show. Oh, right. Fuck's sake. Everyone's high on this guy. Dolph Ziggler versus Cesaro. 2 out of 3 falls. Yay, Cesaro. Yay, Dolph Ziggler. Woo. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. These guys have wrestled on TV every week for the last month. Every fucking week. And all they do is they trade wins. Back and forth. They trade wins. That's all anybody does. in the WWE anymore, is they trade wins back and forth every week, and then they have a pay-per-view match where they have a fuck finish, and they continue the feud for 4 more weeks, and they have like 4 more matches at least, and they maybe do it on SmackDown for 4 more matches, and then they maybe finish the feud on the next pay-per-view. If it's main event, they'll fuck finish it again, and do it another week, so we have at least like 12 matches, maybe 16, and maybe we'll end it then. We'll end it then, unless it's John Cena, we'll go 15 years. So, you know, they have a pretty good match, honestly, where, you know, Dolph goes off, he gets the first fall way too fast with basically just like, you know, they have one of those things where they're just like reversing pin attempt after pin attempt. He just kind of pulls one out right there. It's really way too fast. He wasn't working too fast. It was just the pinfall came way too fast. And so then came this thing where Cesaro finally starts working his, you know, dominant strength game. You know, that's what he does. He is freak show strong. You know, he hits this huge power bomb. Dolph kicks out. Dolph, the show off. The show off, he wows us with his highlight reel, impressive crowd pleasing sleeper hold. To this day, I don't know why they gave the show off a sleeper hold as one of his trademark finishers. That has to be a joke. Somebody told me it was a Cobra Clutch. What the fuck ever? He's the show off. It's sleep. Okay. So, very impressively, Cesaro reverses this into like that deadlift superplex. Freak show strong. This guy is incredible. The crowd starts chanting, "This is awesome." It was not awesome. Although, it did come right after the fucking superplex, which was awesome, but the match itself was not awesome. It was pretty good. But at the same time, it probably was better than pretty much everything they'd seen for the last few weeks. So I don't even know how to... Very forgiving crowd. So, Cesaro from there is pretty much like kicking his ass. You know, he's hitting the giant swing. He hits him with Swiss Death, which is that thing where, you know, he throws him up in the air and hits the European uppercut. That's Swiss Death. Doesn't get the pinfall. He's hitting him with move after move, hitting with big uppercut, and he's not getting the pinfall. He's kicking out of everything. And I'm like just yelling, bullshit, bullshit. You know, that's the mark in me. I'm being such a mark for this guy. And then he's going for the neutralizer, you know, the Gotch pile driver. Dolph slips out, hits the zigzag, and wins. 2 straight falls. I give up. I just give up. Right away, like at the beginning of the show, I'm just like table flip over. And it's not just because they beat Cesaro, although, major reason. You know, I'm a fan here of the guy, but, like, it's almost like a joke that they're playing, almost on me personally, but what is it? What the fuck is it with this guy? What did he do? Every fucking month, I ask this. What the fuck did he do that was so wrong? This hot and cold, this red light, green light, this dangle the carrot and slap him in the face type thing. It seems like they're going to give him some momentum and then just kick him in the nuts. No, fuck you. Like, it seems like they're going to give him some momentum where the crowd might actually care, and then they do this to him. He loses in 2 straight falls to Dolph fucking Ziggler. And before you start off by saying, well, this didn't make him look weak, what's wrong with this? Let me give you some perspective here. Dolph Ziggler won on SmackDown basically the day before the pay-per-view. Okay. Do you know the last match that Dolph Ziggler won on television was? Before that SmackDown? He won, the last match he won on television before that was on Main Event, I believe, 4 weeks previously. He lost every match on television between that span of time. This guy is such a loser. He's so pathetic. They have booked I was going to say Intercontinental Champion, but every singles champion to be so pathetic, so wretched, such losers. I don't know why they even have them. I keep saying, kick the belts in the fucking storm sewers. They're worthless. Every single one of them. And this is at a time when Brock Lesnar, I don't fucking know when you're gonna see this asshole again. Maybe what the fuck is he doing anyway? It's not like he's doing MMA. Maybe he is. I don't know. I think he's retired, but like, I'm even hearing rumors you're not going to see him till a Rumble. 30-day rule, my ass. 30-day rule, if you don't know, is that, it's this rule that they conveniently forget when they conveniently forget it. But it used to be back in the day you had to defend your title every 30 days. It's basically how they got Daniel Bryan. They kind of waived it first, where they're like, no. He's injured, so, this pay-per-view. But next pay-per-view, if you can't go, well, we'll strip you the title. So it was kind of like the 60-day rule. But yeah, this is going to be like the second month. He's not going to... whatever. So one would think that with the world champion gone, your biggest champion, your most prestigious champion on the show is Dolph Ziggler. It's hard to... He hadn't won a match in over a month until SmackDown. Because we got to give him some momentum. Usually they don't even do that. Normally they beat the champion going directly into the pay-per-view to make him look vulnerable. So they are like, oh, he might lose. He might lose this, so there's drama. So they almost always have the challenger win, get the pinfall over him. It's usually like a tag match, to where the challenger gets the pinfall on the champion in the tag match. So you're like, oh, well, he just pinned the champion in this tag match. He might be able to pin him at the pay-per-view. You'd better buy it. That's how they do it. So I was actually kind of surprised they gave Dolph the pinfall on SmackDown. That was remarkable. So, but yeah, Dolph hadn't won a fucking match in over a month. This is how much of a loser. But this has been epidemic for years in the WWE. How much of how big clowns the singles champions have been. The mid-card champions, complete. I don't care. I don't fucking care. Tangent as hell. The singles champions, the mid-card champions, their only purpose is to lose. It's so weird. It's like an albatross around their waist. A golden albatross. For years, pretty much their only role has been to lose to Randy Orton and whoever the number one contender to the world title match has been. So you're like, oh wow. Well, if the guy can beat the Intercontinental Champion, he might be able to beat John Cena, or he might be able to beat Randy Orton, or Randy Orton might be, whoever. It's so, yeah, if you can beat a guy with a shiny gold belt, he can beat, whatever. That's their only role, is to show that this guy is like world-class contender, but that's what the mid-card champion is. He's just he's the biggest loser on the mid-card, That's all they do. So the last Raw that I remember, the last two Raws, every single singles champion lost. Except for one. And the only reason that didn't happen was because they were on opposite sides of a tag match. I think that was it. So, unless there was like a double disqualification, by definition, one of them had to win. So it blew my mind. I was like, you can't have your champions look like champions at all. Which leads me back to this match. Cesaro loses 2 straight falls to the biggest loser in the world, next to fucking Zack Ryder, who hasn't been on TV in months. I don't know how else you can make him look like such a bigger pussy right now. You were giving him some momentum. He fucking beat Dolph Ziggler with an uppercut. You made him look like a fucking god. You gave, like, he has this reputation among the wrestlers. The audience sees this guy who can lift a man who weighs like 230 just over the top rope and suplex the motherfucker. He's got this reputation for like having the best punch in the business next to Big Show. He has one of the cooler finishers in the company. He won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. He has one of the most popular moves in the company, the Giant Swing. And they keep giving him kind of a push, and then they just, no. We're not going to do that. I'd be interested to see what his record, because he keeps getting title matches, and he keeps losing. I'd be interested to see what his record is just for title matches. It has to be like something, probably like 2-25 or something, like, because he has one, but he's like, he has only won like twice, probably. It's terrible. I know he's had a ton of title shots and lost all of them, like virtually all of them. It's stunning to me how pathetic this guy has become, and yet he's got all of these. He's got all of these great qualities, and like the crowd respects this guy. They want to like this guy, or at least they want to boo this guy, but boo him in that good way. Because he's so he's got those qualities. He's got the qualities to be the star if they would let him. Now, what I was saying about the champion looking like a champion. He kicked this guy's ass. Now, did they do it to make the champion look strong? Or did they do it to make Cesaro look like a pussy? Or did they do it to make the helicopter that's flying overhead drown out the sound? No. There's a helicopter. It's hard for me to believe, after all these years, that they did this to make the champion look strong. Why start now? I mean, I would love to believe that they would start doing this now because they have no world champion. But I don't. But I mean, it's way easier for me to believe that they would just keep sitting on Cesaro's face because that's what they've been doing forever. If this marked the beginning of them making Dolph Ziggler, fuck Dolph Ziggler. If this marked the beginning of them making the Intercontinental Champion look like a champion, hey, bravo. If this marked the beginning of them bringing some prestige, if you saw that belt and you're like, oh, whoever holds that must be a badass, that would be an uphill fucking climb, but that would be a way to start. You used to be back in the day when I was a youngin', you would look at a guy who had that belt and you'd be like, that guy has that for a reason. That was always, not always, but like, those were the show stealers. That used to be stars would fucking, Yeah. Not so much anymore. Losers fight over that belt now, and it's not good. What killed me was they go back to the jokers at whatever the pre-show booth was, and Alex Riley, the guy who announces NXT, is just gushing over this match. He's like, "That was a match of the year candidate," and I laughed my ass off. I was going, and I know some of you Ziggler fans are like, "What are you talking about? That match was great." Okay, first off, even you guys cannot agree that was a match of the year candidate. Fuck you. Second, Alex Riley announces NXT. They put on better matches in the main event of NXT every fucking week. He should know this. Pick a week that doesn't involve the Ascension in the main event. Jesus Christ. And if you were going to pick a match that was a match of the year candidate, don't pick a 2 out of 3 falls match where the guy wins in 2 straight falls. Just don't do it. There were better matches on this fucking card. God damn it. I gotta move on or I'll never finish. Second match, Nikki versus Brie Bella. How angry do I want to be at this match? Or how tired? Are we gonna see some titties or not? Yeah, you know, I'm just gonna be a pig here because, like, why am I watching? I'm not watching because of the drama. Am I watching because of the acting? Am I watching? Really? Am I watching because of Nikki Bella's fantastic acting skills? No, I rather think not. Am I watching because of the intricate storytelling here? No, I'm not. Am I watching this because of the enthralling crossover product placement between this and Total Divas, the primary target demographic of which is women? No, I'm not. Am I watching this because of the wrestling quality, the work rate? No. So the only thing I can conclude is that I'm watching this to jerk off. That's not working for me. Unless I see some titties. There's no titties at the end of this rainbow, is there? So get the fuck off my screen. Like, I'm sorry. I'm being a pig here, but, like, that's the only thing I can conclude here is that they're trying to titillate me. They're failing. Because I don't give a shit. How long has this been fucking going on? The answer is too fucking long. And it's gonna keep going on. Oh my god, there's no end in sight. You know, this is just gonna be fucking endless. It's gonna get worse. Holy shit, is it gonna get worse. The stipulation for this shit is that it started off with, it used to be, the first stipulation was the loser has to be the winner's bitch. Their words, not mine, for 30 days. Then they're like, oh wow, that's we shouldn't have done that. So they're like, the loser has to be the winner's personal assistant for 30 days. And I didn't know this. Apparently it was this way, like, the whole time. I looked on the website. I didn't see this. But they made a special note to announce this in the ring. Like, they're like, okay, no, they agreed on this stipulation. Loser has to be the winner's personal assistant for 30 days or quit the WWE. They pointed this out. I didn't know this. The quit the WWE part. I was like, okay. So they wrestled, and Nikki hits a shock treatment, which is Abyss's finisher. I don't know what the fuck Nikki calls it, and I don't care. Brie kicks out. They fight, and then all of a sudden, like, Nikki hits a knockout elbow. Almost like Dean Ambrose's rebound clothesline, but she hits a knockout elbow strike, and I'm like, since fucking when? And it looked like it killed that looked like it fucking hurt. I mean, like, in terms of a wrestling move, she hit it pretty good, to set up a second shock treatment, and Nikki won clean. I was going, that was pretty good. But I was going, I'm sure they set it up on TV where she hits this knockout elbow, but I'm like, when did Nikki Bella pick up this powerhouse, like, elbow smash? That was just kind of awesome, but at the same time, she's like this 110-pound waifish chick with gigantic fake hooters, and she's just like, ah! Anyway, shock treatment, Nikki wins. By the way, babyfaces never win these matches where, like, the loser has to be the winner's butler, because that's so not interesting if the heel gets picked on constantly. It would be funny for one night, but now it has to go on for 30 days. No, it makes the babyface look like a dick. The only way that would happen is if John Cena wins, and then John Cena would just happily look like a dick for 30 days. Because John Cena does. Anyway. No. So what you're going to do is you're going to see Nikki Bella torture her for like 2 weeks. Then, Brie rebels. They're going to challenge her to a match for her freedom. Brie finally gets her revenge. Blah, blah, wins. Finally, some comeuppance. At least in theory. Track record has proven they will fuck it up. This match was actually one of the better matches on the card, astonishingly. I was expecting fuck all from this one. It was okay. It was pretty good, actually. For all I started picking on it initially, it was pretty good. Then there was the Usos and Goldust and Stardust. I might be doing them out of order, but I don't give a shit. This was probably the one that pretty much perfectly exemplifies everything I'm talking about with this show. This ring might as well have been empty. I'm sure that these four guys busted their asses. I know they did. I have seen this match. And this is not me being an asshole. Really. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not intentionally being a prick. I wasn't going into this with an intentionally closed mind. I really, really did try. It wasn't one of those things where I'm like going in there wanting to hate this match. I know some of you are scoffing. I know some of you don't believe this. You're just like, oh, you go into this, you're such a smark. You hate everything about this. You want to go into this to bitch about it. Really. I was watching this match, and I couldn't tell if it was good or not. I'm watching this match, and I said out loud, I go, oh my God, I don't know if I like this. And April goes, what do you mean? And I go, I have seen this match so many times that I legitimately do not know if it is any better or any worse than any of the other matches that I have seen. Meaning, like, if I don't know where it ranks. They have all blurred together into one mass. I've seen it that many times. The ring might as it's like staring. It would be like being in a sensory deprivation tank. It'd be like staring at a wall, a room of all one color. Your eyes would stop registering that color. You'd see through it. I, I, I can't tell. And you have to think about this. The tag team division in the WWE for about a year, if not more, there's really only been, with rare exceptions, and I'll tell you the exception in a minute. You're going to fucking love this. There's only really been 4 tag teams. And they have gone through every permutation of this and then some. It's been the Usos, the Rhodes Brothers, Rybaxel, and the Wyatts. And every combination therein for over a year. Just over and over, round and round we go. For a year. Because the Shield's been broken up for a long time. It's been the Usos and the Rhodes Brothers for a long time. Every week on TV, on pay-per-view, before they became Goldust and Stardust. Oh yeah. I can't tell. I'm sure it was great. You know what? I'll even concede it was great, but I don't care. I'm just sitting there. I'm sitting there with my mouth open, going, I don't know. And it's then I started. It's really then that it started to. I started to really get disillusioned. If I wasn't already, I'm sitting there going like, I don't know if I like wrestling anymore. Legitimately, I do I even like this anymore? It was weird that it took that match, because these guys are putting on a fine show. You know, I was going, these guys are doing fine, but it's the way this has been booked is terrible. It's the same old shit, and I'm saying the same old shit over. I'm trying to move on here, and I'll just move on. You know, it's the Rhodes Brothers. I'm not calling them Golden Stardust. Fucking. Miz and Sheamus. This. I'll talk about this. Fuck. And talk about trading wins back and forth. Here we go. These guys have been trading wins back and forth forever. But here's the funny part. People are going to tell me how awesome this angle is. Fuck you. This angle is not awesome. You think it is, but it's not. And I'll tell you why. This angle sucks. Okay? Mizdow is awesome. This angle sucks. Mizdow is awesome because he knows this angle sucks. This angle makes no sense. The Miz makes no sense. What the fuck is The Miz? What the fuck is he doing? What is his character? Okay, he's a movie star. Okay, first off, what the fuck is he wearing? I don't even know what the fuck it is. It's like the top half of a coat with no pants. In what universe? It's some kind of... He looks like a flasher, but a poorly dressed one. I don't even know. So he's a movie star who's not in movies. But he wants to wrestle. Because he loves the fans, but he hates them. So he has a stunt double that looks nothing like him, that follows him around and does everything he does at the same time he does it, like an annoying child, all the time. This is the character. What is this, a fucking cartoon? I know I'm no fun. I know I'm no fun. What the fuck is going on? And people are telling, but The Miz is doing great. This is a great character. He's great in this role. What fucking role? What role? Who the fuck is this guy? Who acts like this? Do you see any fucking celebrities walking around with a guy who looks nothing like them but dresses kind of like them, who's like silently pantomiming everything they do at all times? What the fuck is the purpose of this? It just And the only reason you like this is because Damien Sandow has just given up. He don't give a fuck anymore. Damien Sandow has realized, correctly, that he's never going to be the guy. You know, he won Money in the Bank, and apparently, like, the day after they did that, they're like, "What? Oh my god, what did we do? Oh shit!" He's the first guy to lose, and when you're the guy, if you're the first guy to lose Money in the Bank, you're just fucked. You're done. You know. He lost to John Cena. Had a good match with John Cena, but he lost. You're done. He's realized he's never going to be the guy. They stuck him in one shitty comedy gimmick after another. They've jobbed him out just deep, deep beneath the earth. He's a complete clown. He's a complete loser. He's realized they're never going to do anything with him. And they stuck him in this gimmick. This nonsense, bullshit, just humiliating gimmick with The Miz. And they're like, yeah, we got... This is the gimmick. This is a gimmick for Sandow that they might as well just hang a sign around his neck saying, we have nothing for you to do, so just... We have nothing for you at this time. Hang out here till we future endeavor you. Like, we have no ideas. So just be his stunt double. I think they were pretty much intending for him to just kind of stand outside, kind of dress funny, and shut up. And then he decided to just go like, fuck it. He just decided, fuck it. And he's like, if they want me to be a stunt double, I'll be his fucking stunt double. I'll act like him all the time. You know, I really think that all this was his idea. You know, and so not only does he start acting like him, he starts like flapping his lips as he's talking all the time. He probably did this without consulting The Miz. And then, as he's wrestling the match, he starts wrestling the match outside the ring. Complete with, you know, doing the figure four to nothing outside the ring, selling injuries outside the ring, you know, body slamming himself outside the ring. Essentially, just everything. Ridiculous shit. I cannot believe it's possible, but I find it much easier to believe that Sandow is just like, fuck it. I'll just start doing the silliest shit I can possibly get away with. And just started doing all this on his own. Because who cares? You know? So, you know, he starts doing the stunt double thing. He starts doing it like crazy, throwing himself into it, because the only way he's going to break out of this is to be ridiculous. You know, because if he just does what they say, he's never gonna get out of there. The only way he's gonna get out of there, he's gonna get fired. So, you know, he might as well just start fucking around. If he starts fucking around, he'll either get fired or he'll be popular. But the thing is, so that's why you like it. You like it because he's the only thing that has any color. But you don't like it because the angle is cool. You don't like it because the character is cool. That's not why. You like it because there's finally a guy. There's one guy in this entire situation who cares enough or doesn't care enough, you know, about just doing what he's told. You know, he stands out. You know, and he stands out so much it cannot be because they told him to. You know, this seems to come from like an original spark. It's too creative for that to have come from anybody but him. That's what I think. Yeah. Yeah. There's finally a guy who stands out, and so that's why you think it's good. And that's what is good. So, but it has nothing to do with The Miz. It has nothing to do with Sheamus. And what's sad is they're wrestling this match, you know. You'll notice what I'm not talking about is the match, which I'm sure was fine. It probably was. But that's the story of the pay-per-view. I'm sure the match was fine. I'm sure the match was very good. But nobody cared. I didn't. Why? Because I'm watching Mizdow on the outside. I think you were. Right? The announcers fucking were. Nobody fucking cared about the action in the ring. How fucking sad is it that the best match on the card was Damien Mizdow versus an invisible wrestler on the outside of the ring? That was match of the year material. Jesus fucking Christ. If you're gonna pay $9.99, and some of the best shit on the card was Mizdow wrestling his own personal demons on the outside ring apron. Oh my God. Speaking of, once again, they literally mocked you if you were one of the sad assholes who paid full pay-per-view price for this bullshit. And you know what? I agree with them. What the fuck is wrong with you? Have you seen this shit? And they're like, oh, you can pay, because they want you to pay the WWE Network $9.99. By the way, if you're paying $9.99, what the fuck is wrong with you? But yeah, full price? Get the fuck out of here. You should feel stupid. You are stupid. This ain't worth your money. But yeah, Mizdow. Everybody's watching Mizdow. Thing is about this, what I was going back to, was now that Mizdow, they've noticed that Mizdow is popular. They're gonna fuck it up because they're drawing it. They've already started fucking it up because they're drawing too much attention to it. Like they're gonna fuck it up like they fucked up Fandango. You know, when everyone started doing the dance, which was only done because they hijacked the show. You know, they started doing the dance because they were rebelling, but all of a sudden they thought, I don't know why they thought this, because they're fucking tone deaf is why. You know, tone deaf to the will of the audience. They're like, oh well, they must like Fandango. No. They were doing the dance because the show fucking sucked, and they hate Fandango. They were doing it ironically, because they would rather sing the shitty fucking song than pay attention to anything going on in that fucking ring. You know. So, of course, what do? They start doing these these little segments talking about the fucking song. They start flat out telling people to do the fucking dance. You know, they start giving people excuses to do the fucking dance. It died out within a week. Because they fucked it up. And so sure enough, Sheamus wins with the brogue kick. And by the way, he killed an innocent cameraman when he brogue kicked the camera. That was just very heelish. And I think the cameraman should sue. Because that was bullshit right there. Anyway, so Sheamus wins with the brogue kick, and then Mizdow, the very dutiful stunt double, like lays down in the ring, dead next to Miz, who, by the way, is not moving. This slays me. By the way, this happens several times when somebody is defeated in the ring and then spends several minutes unmoving. That is not a good sign. When you are rendered unconscious to the point where you are rendered unconscious for several minutes, completely motionless. You know, that's called death. Or a coma. You need immediate medical attention. Like, you need a crash cart. That's seriously bad. There's no doctors of any kind rushing to, wow, Randy Orton was FU'd through a table and was completely motionless for around 4 minutes. He was probably dead. Not good. But yeah, Miz was out for a good 3-4 minutes. Mizdow's down next to him, and Sheamus realizes what the fuck is he doing? So he starts wiggling his arm, and Mizdow's wiggling his arm. He picks Miz up, and Mizdow's doing his thing, and then he starts doing the YMCA with Miz's dead, his fucking corpse. And so, Mizdow's doing the YMCA thing. I'm like, they're fucking it up. They're taking the stunt double thing and they're fucking it up. I mean, it was funny, but here's where it begins. And sure enough, Mizdow eats a brogue kick. And I'm like, they're making Mizdow look like a complete idiot. And this is where, again, this is where the character makes no sense. I know it's a comedy gimmick. I know. Don't start telling me it's a comedy gimmick. It's a cartoon. Lighten the fuck up. But that's the problem, isn't it? You've got this character in Sheamus who's, kind of a real guy, and then he's wrestling this fucking clown. I go, who is this guy? I just don't... What the fuck is happening? I go... Okay, Miz, let's just say Miz is delusional. Okay, Miz, we can argue that Miz is so out of touch, so rich, so delusional that he thinks The Marine 3 is a good movie. Okay, fine. He hires a stunt double. And he thinks this is what a stunt double does. Fine. Whatever. But he hires Damien Sandow, who is the smartest guy in the entire business. The intellectual savior of the masses. And he's dumb enough to just stand there doing the YMCA and then eat this gigantic ginger motherfucker's boot in his face. He just stares right at it and boop. And he does this several times. He's standing there and, imitating Sheamus over and over again, and then he's surprised when Sheamus just bicycle kicks him in the fucking teeth. Completely unforeseen. This guy's supposed to be smart. I don't know. So we're depending on both of these guys being complete just idiots. I don't know. This gimmick sucks. I've gone on. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This is what I'm talking about. I think I hate this. God damn it. Then I couldn't believe this. Then I was legitimately stunned. It was Cena and Orton, middle of the card. I would have bet money, like good money, on this being last. Cena and Orton, Hell in a Cell. But why? Because let's bottom line here. This was the main event. Really was. Because, but I would have put good money in this being the last match, because it's the main event. They call it the co-main event. Fuck you, you know. So, but they put it in the middle of the card. They gave Ambrose and Rollins the last match, which stunned me. Really, I don't know why. I mean, I would have bitched either way, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, I guess they did the right thing, but wow, interesting. I guess maybe I guess the reason they did it was because of what they, the end of the Rollins match, what happened, but yeah. And also they probably needed to break up the two cell matches. Anyway, here I've already done my piece about the quality of the match and the enduring history of it. This is what pissed me off the most about this match. And really, by far, what pissed me off the most about this match. Let's just ignore. Forget about all this. Let's just say that you are a new wrestling fan. Let's just say you're April. You just got into this a year and a half ago, 2 years. Who, by the way, she is already sick of Orton and Cena, and really without my input. She's already seen enough of this shit. But let's go back to how these matches got organized. So the way this worked was Cena and Ambrose both wanted Seth Rollins because during the Brock and Cena world title match, Seth Rollins tried to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. Follow? But instead of being smart and waiting for there to be a winner, okay, instead of waiting for one of them to completely kill the other, and then cashing in on the other, and then beating the already completely destroyed one, like a smart person would do, he just ran in the middle of the match and attacked one of them and got him disqualified. Okay? And then both of them essentially ran him off. The match ends in disqualification, and now both wrestlers are mad at Seth Rollins, but Brock is just gone, and now Cena wants to kill him because he ruined the match and cost him the title for the 16th time. Okay. And Ambrose obviously wants to kill Seth Rollins because he tried to literally murder him by kicking his head through cinder blocks. Okay, fair enough. They both have a grievance, and now they decide that instead of teaming up and trying to murder Seth Rollins, they both want to handle this individually, and now are just bitching about it like a couple of grade schoolers. I don't know why they can't just both decide to abduct him and then work him over with a pair of pliers and a blowtorch. I think that would be both. I think they would both enjoy this as well. But whatever. So they have a match that is set up by the Authority, who you can trust completely, to where it's called a contract on a pole match. Because, God knows, we don't have enough matches on a pole. Thanks, Vince Russo. Whoever gets the contract off the pole gets Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell. Then, just as the match is kind of just about to get started, Randy Orton goes to Triple H and says, I want the guy who, very diplomatically phrased, he says, I want forget it. Like he says, I want the okay, the winner gets Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell. I want the other guy in Hell in a Cell. And Triple H goes, okay, you got it. And whoever wins that gets a future World Heavyweight Championship match. And they really danced around the phrasing of that, which was interesting because he didn't say like, I want the loser of that match. Because you can't say loser. That's such a weird little turn of phrase. I want the loser of that match because then we'll have an awesome match. Wow. Okay. Anyway. So, yeah, winner of the contract on a pole match between Cena and Ambrose gets Seth Rollins in the cell. Okay. Fair enough. So, Ambrose, the whole thing is a trap. You know, because, well, the Authority fucked them, whatever. So, Authority attacks, but Ambrose sneaks up, steals the contract. He gets the match with Seth Rollins. Cena, his reaction to all this, as it is, this is why people hate John Cena. One of the many reasons. He sees fucking Dean Ambrose take his contract, take his one shot at killing Seth Rollins, and he just goes, he smiles. He smiles and just oh no, he golf claps. He smiles and he goes, you got me. You got me, man. Really, he does. And now, keep in mind, you have to keep in mind, if this were real, or fuck it, if it's not real, but whatever. Let's just fuck it. Okay. You got me, man. Man, you got me. Okay. Remember why they want Seth Rollins. Okay. John Cena had Brock Lesnar beat. He was going to win the World Heavyweight Championship for the 16th time. Let's just, again, not just for the fact that he was going to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Okay. Fuck it, not even the World. This is the WWE Championship, which is, I actually questioned why the WWE Championship was the bigger championship than the World Heavyweight Championship when they were two separate belts, and Miles explained it to me. The World Heavyweight Championship is just the world. The WWE Championship is the championship of the universe. And I was like, oh my god, that actually makes sense. Anyway, so not only did Seth Rollins cost him the championship of the universe, the entire universe, he cost him his shot at revenge against Brock Lesnar, the guy who fucking destroyed him for an entire week. A week? But seriously, cost him the title, cost him revenge, cost him his 16th title run, which would have, in WWE continuity, tied him with Ric Flair, which in storyline, they made a big deal out of. So this would have like cemented his legacy. This was like the biggest potential title win of his career. Okay. Like, this was huge. And Seth Rollins fucked him. So, his one chance at revenge, Dean Ambrose steals this contract, and John Cena goes, oh man, oh well, fuck you. Fuck you, WWE. No. But the thing is, this has been John Cena forever. That's John Cena, man. And wow. But this is the thing that has, I gave up on John Cena when he lost the World Heavyweight Championship one time, and he goes in the ring and he's all smiles. Smiling. And he says these words, and he goes, titles come and titles go. And just some bullshit after that, but I was just like, table flip. You know. But he's like, I'll get another title shot someday, and I'll get the title back. You know, He's like, I got bigger problems or something like that. But titles come and titles go. No, they don't. You know, this is where you have to go back to if this were real. Titles, no. So, this is, he cost him his title shot, Brock Lesnar. Oh my God. But yeah, he comes out all smiles. This is, like, the character of John Cena just is this chucklehead, you know. Woo! Yeah, none of it has any weight. This is why you can't take any of this shit with any kind of gravity. It's like, oh my God, this guy, you know. I can't stand it. Titles come and titles go. I remember when I think it was Andre beat Hogan, I think it was. Yeah, my memory's so bad lately. I think it was Andre beat Hogan, and it was a complete screw job. Like, everybody fucked him over. But it was the biggest screw job ever. So Hogan was just beside himself, and they interview Hogan, and Hogan never loses, you know, but he got fucked. Like, $1 Million Man fucked him. Hulk Hogan, who lost the title of the Earth, weeping like a child. He lost the World Heavyweight Champion. I let down my Hulkamaniacs. Oh, brother. He might never get this thing back. He got fucked. Oh. This was the most important thing in the world to him. And the thing is, it wasn't even his fault. He got fucked. And John Cena got fucked. And then, but titles come and titles go. You know, that's the thing. And so, yeah, that's, with that whole Seth Rollins thing, that was what killed me about that one. I thought, oh my God, that was. So, wow. Going far afield, the story of this was that Seth Rollins won his match from the pole. Sorry, Dean Ambrose got the contract from the pole. His prize was Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell. Okay. John Cena lost. His prize is Randy Orton in Hell in a Cell. And Triple H added this little number. Randy Orton says, I want the loser of the match. And Triple H goes, fine. And the winner of that match gets a future World Heavyweight Championship match. So let me get this straight. Dean Ambrose won his match, gets Seth Rollins. John Cena loses his match, gets a number one contenders match for the world title. Yeah. Yeah. I give up. You know, in no reality does this make sense. It wouldn't have been enough. Could we at least have put up Seth Rollins' Money in the Bank briefcase? We could have said that John Cena gets a number one contenders match. Okay. It's bullshit, but okay. No, it's not okay. It's bullshit. But if we're going to do that, at least say that Dean Ambrose gets a shot at the Money in the Bank briefcase. Please? Because it is technically a better prize than a simple number one contender spot. Because it's a title match whenever you want, wherever you want. So you get to pick your moment. It is better than a number one contenders match, which probably takes place at a pay-per-view. Which is, really the number one contenders match has not been specified at a date or time. I don't know when the fuck. So yeah, the actually, what good is the Money in the Bank briefcase if Brock Lesnar never appears? Interesting. Honestly, I would probably try to find. If I was Seth Rollins, I'd be driving around trying to find Brock, waiting for a moment of weakness, waiting for him to fall down stairs or something, because he's carrying this piece of shit around. It's useless. Is he ever going to show up again? It used to be there was some kind of drama because the guy was on the show and might get his ass kicked. How brilliant is it? Like, wow, I didn't know you could just not show up to work. Well, that's fucking brilliant. Wow. So many of these guys who lost the World Heavyweight Championship just could have stayed home. Wow. But how stupid do they look? So, yeah, John Cena gets a number one contenders match for he loses his way into a potential title match. Go figure. But he's John Cena. The match. I forced myself to watch it. I can actually rate the quality of this match. It was a John Cena and Randy Orton match. And that's pretty much all I can say about it. That's not true. Okay. Nobody cared. And that's not me projecting. Nobody cared. How could you? You know. There was no emotion to it. There was no passion. There was no urgency. There was no drama. There was no nothing. Yeah. This was a standard match that might as well have been on Raw. This was slow. This was methodical. This was dull. It was competent. And that's probably the biggest compliment I can pay to it, is that it was okay. And that's probably the worst insult I can pay to it, is that it was okay. That's it. You know, it really does rank among the worst matches they've had. All the matches they've ever had are fine. They work well together. Always have. They put on good matches. They're good wrestlers. They really are. You know, for all people bag on John Cena, you can't wrestle. He's good. Randy Orton, very good. John Cena, great. He's a great wrestler. He's good. He's a great storyteller. He's fine. For all I bag on him, he's great. You know, he does exactly what he needs to. You know, you can argue his character one way or the other, but in terms of wrestling, he's fine. You know, all the matches they've ever put on, fine. But in terms of this one, it was just there. John Cena wins clean with an FU from the middle or up through a table. The sell might as well have not been there. This match was, the Hell in a Cell aspect of it was pathetic. It was useless. The entire pay-per-view, they were trying, for weeks leading up to this, they were trying their damnedest to build up this Hell in a Cell as if it was alive, this demonic entity waiting to devour the souls of men. It alters careers. It maims flesh. You know, they would say that nobody emerges the same after setting foot inside these 3 miles of steel. These jaws of steel. JR's carcinogenic claws. The metal militia bears its fangs. Oh, by the way, I did like how Michael Cole just, again, 2 minutes after introducing representatives from the cancer survivors of the Susan G. Komen Foundation called the Hell in a Cell this malignant structure. A winner is you. Good job. The cage, back in the day, when I was a youngin', the Hell in a Cell it meant something because people did fucking maim themselves inside that cage. They went all out in the Hell in a Cell. It was brutal. And that's not to say it was good, but it was brutal. It's two different things. But we're in a PG era now. It's for kids. You are not going to have the kind of match in a Hell in a Cell that you had back then. You're not even going to have anything close. You're not going to have anything remotely close. You're not going to have anything that resembles a Hell in a Cell match. In fact, it's pathetic. It doesn't look anything like it. So, I knew what was coming, but I don't know if anyone watching this at home from the old school days, maybe if people were tuning in expecting something better or expecting something brutal on the level, even remotely near the level of, back in the old days, they would have been horrified by how boring and tame and just worthless this was. This was worthless. This was an average match that was in a chain link fence. That's it. What do I mean when I say the Hell in a Cell used to be way more brutal? If you watch the Power Slam video, and you should watch it a lot, I mentioned the, Mankind getting thrown off the cage and going through the table. That's probably the most famous spot of them all when people mention Hell in a Cell. And yet they don't show that in the video packages. They show, Hell in a Cell by the numbers, 3 miles of steel, how many matches there's been. Never once did they show the most famous spot of all of them is Mankind going off the cage, Mankind going through the cage and almost fucking dying. They show the spot of him getting chokeslammed on tacks. But not I don't know. But there's other matches. There was one match I remember very distinctly. In fact, when I was watching Brock Lesnar matches, I was just watching Brock Lesnar matches. And there was a match between Brock and The Undertaker that was in Hell in a Cell when Undertaker was doing his American Badass gimmick, his Booger Red gimmick. And I remember as a kid, for some reason, really liking this match. That match is horrible. Or at least, it's horrible because it's fucking disgusting. But if you're looking for a Hell in a Cell match that carries through on that promise of, fucking maiming people, there you go. I'll tell you what goes on in that match. And here's what the ironic part is. The build to that match was the exact same build to the 21-1 WrestleMania story. This is a tangent worth going on. The build to the Hell in a Cell Brock Lesnar Taker match, don't know what pay-per-view, but whatever, this was 10 years ago. I don't even know. But the story was you had this young up-and-coming beast in Brock Lesnar going after the dead man. And Brock was saying, this used to be your yard, but you're getting old. You know, I'm young. I'm in my prime. He's like, yeah, I'm young. I'm not even in my prime yet. I'm only getting better. You? How much longer can you go on? You know, this has been your yard, but not anymore. You know, it says, I'm young, I'm hungry, and, you know, the years are adding up. The injuries are adding up. And I don't, you know, how much longer do you really think you can go on? Look at me, you know, and like 10 years later, exact same build to that match. Really, you know, and Taker was like, if I drag you into the deep water, how, you know, are you going to sink or swim, you know? It was really remarkable. It's worth going back and watching the video package leading to that match where, you know, Paul Heyman was pitching the exact same promo. You know, this guy is the conqueror. He's perfect. He is this, you know, he is the beast. He is young. And you're an old man. So what happens in this match, this Hell in a Cell match, was that early on, well, two things. The story going into it is that apparently Brock breaks Undertaker's hand or his wrist. So he's not fit to compete. So Taker threatens the trainer to like just load him up with painkillers so he can go in there, which I'm pretty sure is illegal. But he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you if you don't. So he just loads him up with shit and puts the cast on his hand. So he goes in there, and so the whole time Brock is working the cast, working the hand. But early on, Taker gigs. He blades over the head, so he bleeds. But Taker fucks it up, or he goes too deep, but he hits like a fucking artery. And he starts to bleed like a fucking maniac. It looks like he's about to die. He blades bad. I have rarely seen worse blade jobs, but I don't know. Well, the thing is, I don't know if he actually intentionally bladed bad, but like some people fucking blade that bad on purpose. But yeah, this was a bad blade job. He fucking gouged himself to the point where you can see it squirt, like legitimately. He loses a lot of blood. It's disturbing. I don't know why I liked that match as a kid, other than maybe it was just the sheer fact that I didn't know any better, or like I was just like, dude, extreme. I can't. Oh wow, I'm watching this match going, this is gross. But yeah, he is the mat is fucking covered in blood. His face, you call it crimson mask. His face is just gore. Not even blood. Gore. It's like that scene in the Descent where she like erupts from that pit, and it's like not even blood, it's like mud. And Taker's is like blah. The worst part is like I think it's I think Brock has him in like a triangle choke, and Taker is just bleeding like a stuck pig, just squirt all over Brock's arm, all over Brock's chest, all over his face. He's like, ah. And I'm going, the ref should stop this just to treat this. I'm like, I wonder if Taker legitimately needed a transfusion from that. Wow, that was ugly. That was a fucked up match. But you want to look at brutal Hell in a Cell matches? That was fucking brutal. I mean, it was probably a fucked up, just a botch. But wow. You look at how those guys emerged from that cell. It looked like a fucking crime scene. Nobody watched that match and you'd be like, wow, that Hell in a Cell match was fucked up. Those two guys killed each other in that. You know, Brock came out of there covered in blood, like, oh my god, that one. Oh. Taker came out of there covered in gore. No other match would you see shit like that. Because no other match would they ever try shit like that. Well, I want to say that, but you rarely would see shit like that. Not anymore. Not anymore. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that they should do more of that. I'm not. Because I want those guys to be safe. You may think what I'm saying is those guys should hurt themselves. So not what I'm saying. In fact, I'm kind of glad those days are over. What I'm saying is that they are making promises they cannot keep. They need to phase out Hell in a Cell now. Because what used to be the ultimate in brutality, the really would be the blow off to the end all be all to, long running feuds. What was the blow off to Randy Orton and John Cena many moons ago? The first time they blew off their feud was in Hell in a Cell. And now the third blow off to their feud. It used to be the ultimate grudge settler, because there was no match more brutal. Nobody could get out of Hell in a Cell. There's no escape. People died. Now, it's just a chain link fence. Because nobody bleeds in Hell in a Cell. Nobody does anything crazy in Hell in a Cell. In fact, it's kind of tame, because there's a top on the cell, so you can't do anything crazy. In fact, the cage matches, normal cages, don't have a top, so you can do crazier shit. I saw Chris Jericho jump off the cage. I saw Cody Rhodes jump off the cage and almost kill himself, because fucking Road Dogg didn't catch his ass. You really can't do that off the cell. It's just a chain link fence. If you follow me here. And in this match, it just didn't even come into play. They kind of ran each other into it, and they kind of did that thing where they cheese grated a little bit. Nobody bled, though, because you just don't do that in the WWE anymore. Nobody bleeds, unless you're Triple H. Nobody, really weren't any weapons, except the table thing. They each kind of toss each other through table. Tables are perfectly safe as far as the weapons go, but it was just standard as far as these kind of matches go. And then the howl, my howler was the match of the year thing from Alex Riley. April was so bored. She was borderline raging. I have never seen her rage at wrestling before. April was just going, this sucks. She was like pulling at her hair going like, they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything. She was almost inarticulate with just anger at how boring this match was. She's asleep now. It drove her to fatigue. She was mad because she kind of likes watching Randy Orton wrestle. John Cena, she didn't give a shit. But she kind of liked watching Randy Orton wrestle. I don't blame her. Whatever. He's a good-looking fella. I'd do him. No. But she was getting pissed. Because for one, she was promised some brutality here. And again, don't blame her. But by the end, where it got ridiculous, where she fucking laughed, it was kind of one of those rage laughs where you're just like, what the fuck? Was two things. Was I think it was Bradshaw both times first claimed that this was one of the best Hell in a Cells that had ever been done. The second was I think it was right after the Cena won. Bradshaw was so giddy with joy, like squee giddy. He's like, somebody call the police because these two just stole the show. What? She started just howling. Like, she's like, what the fuck match were you watching? She's like, what show? This show sucks. Oh, I'm sorry. No, the howler of the show for me, the second howler was, I couldn't even believe this. I think it was Cole who, oh no, this was later in the show. Shit. Then they put, I'm missing a match, but yeah, then there was Paige and AJ. You want to talk about, I'm not going to go on about this. Paige and AJ, this will stun you at how long this has gone on. Guess how long Paige and AJ have been fighting, just feuding over the women's title. 7 months. At first I was surprised. I was like, it doesn't seem like it's been that. You know what? Oh my god. Because then I thought about when Paige debuted and what fucking holiday it was, and I was like, I've been watching these two fight and accomplishing nothing for this long. These two have been having the same match and accomplishing nothing for 7 months. Seriously, tell me, other than flipping the title back and forth, what's happened? Nothing. The story has not changed. The song hasn't changed. It's just like a record skipping over the first 3 notes. This is the story that it started this way and it hasn't changed. The story is, and the commentators haven't. This is what the commentators have said at the beginning, and this is what they're saying now. These bitches be crazy, and I don't know what's going on. That's almost literally, word for word, what they always say. They go, AJ's crazy and Paige is crazy too. I don't know what the fuck is going on. These bitches be crazy. And then actually, you know what? There has been a change. They added fucking Alicia Fox, who is also crazy. So yeah, the last month, fucking Paige is hanging out with Alicia Fox. So now the announcers go, there's Alicia Fox. These bitches be crazy. I don't know what the fuck is going on. So yeah, Paige debuts. She's crazy. Does like this semi-implied like lesbian shit, but not really, but kind of curious. But no, she's just kind of crazy, and I don't know what the fuck is going on. And then AJ is like, oh, you want to play gay chicken? I'll play gay chicken. And then the announcers go, AJ's kind of crazy. I don't know what the fuck is going on. And then they start doing this frenemies thing that it's clear that Paige isn't dumb enough to buy it, and it's clear that AJ knows that Paige isn't buying it, but is playing along with it anyway, and that we know that Paige knows that AJ, and I'm like, the commentators know this, And the commentators go like, then why are they keeping all this up if everyone knows what everyone knows? Bitches be crazy, and I don't know what the fuck is happening. And that leads us to now. In the match, I'm sorry, these two are really good wrestlers. Paige and AJ are really good. And for some reason, they have just, they've never clicked. They never really have gelled. Just, they've never made that connection with each other, and they've never made that connection with the audience. It's just, for some reason, the audience doesn't care. It's so weird. I think the thing is, the audience wants to like both of them, and I think I don't think Paige is comfortable as being a heel. I think it shows, and I don't think the audience is comfortable with Paige as a heel. And I think that I think AJ is a heel, but I don't think the WWE knows that. It's like they're writing AJ as a heel, but they think they're writing her as a babyface. Because they have AJ walking out on her tag team partners. Heels do that. Heels walk out on their tag. Only heels do that. Heels. Babyfaces don't walk out on their partners. Heels look at their partner and they get fed up if they feel like their partner is like a clown or they're a loser. A heel would be like, oh, fuck this shit, and leave. There's been like 2 weeks where AJ has come out with a partner and seen, it was like Emma from NXT, and Emma was doing her like goofy dance, and AJ has just looked at Emma going like, fuck this shit, and left. And I'm like, heel? And no, AJ's supposed to be a babyface. Yeah, and then Alicia Fox and Paige would like kick the shit out of her, and we're supposed to feel sorry for her. And I'm like, I don't. No, because 1, she's a heel, and 2, you might not get the shit kicked out of you if you had friends. And the reason you don't have friends is because you walk out on your fucking tag team partners. Who, by the way, were, even though they were dancing around and acting like dumbasses, were winning the match! Even though Emma was doing her little goofy dance, she was kicking the shit out of the other person. I mean, yeah, she was kind of wasting her time, but she was winning! Jesus Christ. AJ won. The only thing that made me mad about... Well, not the only... What made me really weird and pissed off about this, was that Paige takes a really bad bump on the outside. Like, she's on the guardrail. AJ sweeps her leg out from under her. She's supposed to fall back first on the guardrail, but she falls off to the side and, like, hits her shoulder blade on the guardrail and just, like, tumbles. It looked like it sucked. And so the ref is counting Paige out. Alicia Fox picks her up to throw her back in the ring to beat the count. How is that not a disqualification when you pick up somebody to beat the 10 count? That would be a disqualification. It seems to me. Then it turns out it didn't even matter, because as soon as she gets thrown in the ring, AJ puts her in the Black Widow and she taps out. So, what the fuck ever. Then, Alicia Fox goes in the ring to console Paige, who gets pissed off, slaps her in the face, yelling, "I hate you," and the commentators go, "Wow, AJ's crazy. What the fuck is going on in the ring? She was just trying to help. Bitches be crazy. I don't know what the fuck is going on. The end. Then we have the main event. Co-main event. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. This drum solo. April and I were having so much fun with this match because my prediction, and I wasn't far off. I was actually very scared that I was going to be right, was they were going to fuck us. Because my prediction was that Dean Ambrose was going to get in Hell in a Cell. And then Seth Rollins was going to come out, lock the cage, and then run away. And that would end the show. And then it'd be like, motherfucker! And they were just going to con us out of another like main event. Because that's why I thought they were doing a co-main event. Was so they would have a main event, because I thought they would fuck us out of the one and then at least have Randy Orton and John Cena. But they almost did that. So they do the thing where Dean Ambrose, like, he comes to the ring with like a Singapore cane and like a sheath on his back. It was really cool. He comes out dressed to fight. Crowd is fired up. This is the first time they fucking cared. They want to see this guy kill Seth Rollins. So do I. They stand up. They're on their feet. They want to see this shit. So do I. Fucking 3 months down the line. Finally. They've built this up enough. But my prediction, they're going to fuck us. Why? Like, that's crazy, Spoony, you say. They would be crazy to fucking do this. Well, they've conditioned us, haven't they? They've conditioned me. This is a fool me twice scenario. Fool me 3 times, really. They have fucked us twice on pay-per-views. Why should I think they would finally deliver a 3rd time? You think I'm fucking crazy? So, this is one of those things where, like, I'll believe it when I see it. And sure enough, I was very nearly right. You know what I mean? So, a lot of you guys on Twitter were pretty much in the middle of telling me how right I was. Alright? So, before you start calling me crazy all the time, just think about that. Sometimes I know what I'm talking about. Usually not. Sometimes. So, he starts filling the ring with, like, chairs and shit. And then he's like, you know what? Fuck it. And he climbs up the cage. Like, Mankind. It's impossible to do that and not harken back to Mankind. Then the howler of the night occurs. And I had to go back. But this could be, like, the viral quote of the show. I'm sure somebody has already made, like, a clip of this. Where I believe it's Cole says to Bradshaw. He says, John, have you ever seen a Hell in a Cell match where somebody starts the match outside of the cell? Or on top of the cell? And Bradshaw goes, no. You had Mick Foley on Raw! It's only the most notorious Hell in a Cell match ever. John, have you ever seen a Hell in a Cell match where somebody started the match on top of the cage? No. I could just end the video there. So, Seth Rollins comes out, and I'm already fed up. Because as soon as he comes out, he refuses to get up hot top of the cage. I am so sick of what they've done to Seth Rollins. Beyond sick. They have just ruined him. They have made him to be such a pussy. he runs away from everything. So he goes in there. He refuses to go on top of the cage. And Dean is like, I'm up here. And he's like, no, you. Come down here. No, you. I'd be like, if this goes on for 10 minutes, I would love this match. Where he refuses to come up there and he refuses to come down there. And they just yell at each other all night. I was like, that would be great. I hope this is what goes on. They just stand there and there's like, eventually there is like a time limit to Hell in a Cell and it's a draw. That would be great. So yeah, Dean wastes his entire stipulation. So eventually, like Seth, he's like, okay, fine, I'll go up there, and he starts climbing up, and then he loses his nuts, and he comes back down. He's like, no, fuck it. He starts stalling because he has no balls. So he finds Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury, the new Stooges, and he's like, you guys, you go up there and you go. He says, you get him. You get him. And you bring him down here. And the two guys are like, okay. And so they go up there to die for his sins. And so he's got a fucking Singapore cane, and these two idiots, they just go up there and they're like, we just want to talk to you, and then they die. They should have brought shotguns. So yeah, they go up there and they get killed. Seth Rollins sneaks up behind him, unarmed. This guy's got a sword. So he sneaks up behind him, hits him in the back, and then he gets the shit kicked out of him. So what does Seth Rollins do? I'll give you one guess. He runs away! Seth Rollins runs away! And trust me, if Dean Ambrose, if this were real, if Dean Ambrose hadn't caught him, he'd have run into his car and drove off. In fact, why did fucking Seth Rollins show up? Why did he drive to the arena? Why does he work here? If he's that big a pussy, why does he bother? I don't even know. Why doesn't he just go and forfeit the match? Like, if he's that much of a coward, he could just go to the referee and be like, I'm not feeling well, I forfeit the match. If he's that afraid of getting the shit kicked out of him by Dean Ambrose, just quit. Anyway. Because he's clear he doesn't want to fight the guy. Fuck it. Oh my god. So they do this thing where he's climbing down the cage and Dean Ambrose catches him, and they're doing the thing where they're the announcers tables are down there and they punch and punch, and eventually they're both at like the halfway point of the cage, and they both somehow, I don't know how this works. Well, I know how it works, bullshit, but they both just fly off the side of the cage through both tables. Really, Dean just, for no reason, jumps off the side of the cage through a table. I guess because it's fun. And again, this goes back to the brutality of the Hell in a Cell. Don't get me wrong. This was a crazy spot. Wrestling to beginning is crazy. Just being able to throw yourself on your back from a standing position is crazy. Okay? The mere act of throwing yourself from halfway up the cage through a table is crazy. Mankind throwing himself from the top of the cage through a table, suicidal. So, I'm not saying that they should have jumped off the top of the cage or whatever. I'm saying that this came off as weak. I mean, yeah, they were hearkening back to like Mankind, mainly the HBK, the HBK fall. Early on, the fall through the table and off the cage. I mean, this came off as weak. Again, I know, I'm so jaded. This is where I come off. Again, I'm sitting here watching this stuff outside the ring, This is like the second or third time I'm watching this, and I'm so unimpressed. And I go, do I hate wrestling? And I don't know the answer, you know. And they start bringing, these two guys who jumped off the side of the cage at the midway point, and they crash through these tables, and they're acting like they're dead. And they bring stretchers around, start loading them on the stretchers, and the announcers are going, oh my God. And I think these guys might be, oh my God. Did you see how far they fell? Guys, I think Dean Ambrose might be hurt. He's not moving. Guys, they might be seriously hurt. This is Hell in a Cell. You see what happened there. We're using our quiet voices. That means it's serious. Oh, holy shit. And I'm like, come on. You're using your quiet voices. You're using your serious business quiet voices. No. No. Maybe if you're a wrestling fan, maybe if you're 8, maybe if you just started watching this 2 years ago, that might have blown me away. No. I guess I'm just old. This is where I just keep going back on, like, do I hate wrestling? Am I just old? Have I seen too much? Or does this suck? And I don't know. And I'm watching this. They fell through tables. They're acting like they're dead. They're loading them onto stretchers. I'm like, oh, just get up. God damn it. They're using their quiet voices, and you know what it is? It's like I've seen them do matches in this era where they've taken bigger falls. But because it's Hell in a Cell, all of a sudden this really hurts. And I guess that's what I'm supposed to believe. It's because it's Hell in a Cell, all of a sudden it's got some mystic demonic property. Although, to be fair, this is the first time the Cell has come into play at all. So, April has thrown her hands up at this point. And then I realize that what she's decided. She goes, oh, they fucked us. They fucked us again. And I go, what? They fucked us, she said. And I go, what do you mean? And they start wheeling him up the ramp. And I'm like, oh my God, you could be right. And so the cameras are actually starting to kind of pull back. I'm like, if they end the show, this is going to be awesome. And I'm going like, I hope they do. I hope they end the show like this. I hope they, I hope they just have them where they fell through the tables after a pathetic, a pathetic 2 minutes of brawling. Just fell through the tables, stretcher job out. That was your Hell in a Cell, and they just roll credits. I'm like, if they fuck us again for the third time straight, perfect. Yeah. And it looked that way. It looked that way for the longest time, and then they, Dean Ambrose kind of does the Mick Foley thing and gets up off the stretcher, throws Seth Rollins back in the cell, and we finally have a cell match. Which, again, stunned me. That we finally had a match. Holy shit. I couldn't... Really, stunned. Wow. Because if it was almost a joke. It was almost as they were wheeling up the ramp, they're going like, we're going to fuck you again. Guess what, guys? We're going to do it again. It was almost, yeah. You could almost see the logo in the corner and be like, guess what? Fuck you! But no. Somehow they decided to have mercy and reward you. That would have been great. for the third month in a row to have the commentators just instead of the logo, just to fade to the commentators just cackling at you, going, "This is the third month in a row you paid full price for this horse shit." How many times are you gonna pay for this crap? We could do this every month. So yeah, I was like, that's why I was hoping they would do it. I was hoping they would fuck us again on the Seth Rollins match, just to see how long they could keep it up. I was going, if they do this, I hope they keep doing it till WrestleMania. Just keep promising a Rollins Ambrose match month after month until Mania, and then fuck us again. It just not having matches. It would be the stuff of legend. It would be like Tommy Dreamer and Raven, but instead of Dreamer never getting the win over Raven, he would never actually get a match. It would be great. Yeah. Raven would just keep not having matches. He'd just keep running away. You know, say what you want about the Dreamer-Raven feud. At least Raven stood his ground and had matches against the motherfucker. Jesus Christ. Okay, so the match. It was the best match on the card. But that doesn't say anything. What do I say about the match? It was the best match that one can expect from a garbage wrestling match, from an ECW garbage wrestling match in a PG era. When I say garbage wrestling match, I mean from a wrestling match where two dudes pull garbage from under the ring and whack each other with it, ECW style. There was more to it than that. They actually did wrestle. But, you know, this was not a Hell in a Cell match. This was a street fight. There is a difference. You know, this was a really good match. And then the ending. And not ironically, and then fittingly, that's when my migraine kicked into full fucking swing. Dean Ambrose is going to win. You know, he's got him set up, but he's like, I'm going to kill this guy. Literally kill him. So he brings out a couple cinder blocks, or brings out a couple rubber cinder blocks. He's like, I'm going to curb stomp this guy and murder him before you through these cinder blocks. And the announcers are firmly behind this plan of the baby faces. And Cole is like, yeah, let's murder this guy. It's poetic justice. And even Bradshaw is like, fucking A. He's like, he's gonna kill this guy. And Cole's like, yeah, fuck yeah, he is. Oh, that reminds me. Rewind. This is what I hate about Farbrand. I hate Dean Ambrose. I hate the character of Dean Ambrose. I like the wrestler. The character of Dean Ambrose pisses me the fuck off. I hate Seth Rollins, the character. I hate the character. They have fucked everyone. Dean Ambrose, the character, looks like the biggest idiot in the world. I've gone on about this a little bit, but they've only made it worse. Okay. I've said this before, where if I got my head kicked through fucking cinder blocks, A, I would be dead. But if you didn't kill me, I would be in a coma. But if I wasn't in a coma, I would be heavily brain damaged. But if I wasn't heavily brain damaged, I would lose most of my fine motor control. But if I didn't, and I was in major control of my faculties, I would kill you. But if I decided not to kill you, I would try to cripple you. But mainly I would try to kill you. Because you tried to fucking kick my head through cinder blocks. Let's face it, you tried to kill me. It's only fair. it is poetic justice. Let's be frank here. But first off, I wouldn't try to do it in a wrestling match. I would just try to straight up kill you. Because Seth Rollins didn't try to do it in a wrestling match either. He just straight up tried to kill him. Okay, so back in the Attitude Era, not that everything was better in the Attitude Era, trust me, it wasn't. You know, characters like Stone Cold Steve Austin would straight up try to kill people. You know. So, this is not unheard of, where Stone Cold would just straight up charge a group of cops and attack them and get arrested. So, they're trying to do this with Dean Ambrose, but they're fucking it up to where they're making him a complete clown. Not surprisingly, they're trying to do it like the Joker, but even the Joker had more balls than this. Pardon me. So, but they're not having him be, like, violent or badass. Because, again, Dean Ambrose should want to kill this motherfucker. I mean, kill him dead. Like, wait in the parking lot with a sword. Try to kill him dead. Because Austin would kind of try to do that with, like, hit him with a car dead. But, or probably not, because, no, Austin would want to beat him to death with his bare hands dead, but still, kill him. Because you tried to kick his head through cinder blocks. I can't reinforce that enough, okay? If you tried to kick my head through cinder blocks and I wanted to kill you, here's what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't fill a fucking suitcase with a funny green paint grenade and then giggle at you like a little pussy. Here's what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't go to Coney Island and steal a fucking hot dog cart and then arrange an elaborate gunslinger holster and put a bottle of ketchup and mustard in them and then squirt him in your face and then run away giggling like a bitch. I would kill you. The ketchup and mustard thing, not really my preferred weapons. I would use knives and kill you. Because you kicked my head through cinder blocks. Dean Ambrose uses ketchup and mustard. Now, the green grenade thing was funny. And I know a lot of people were going like, well, you obviously can't have him stab people because it's wrestling. And it's funny. And Dean Ambrose is doing great. He's great in character. Oh, he's doing fine in the character. Unfortunately, his character's an asshole. And his character is a dumbass. You know, he's doing what he's been written, fine. He's a really good actor. The problem is he's too good. In the sense that he's been given this bullshit. And he's delivering it too well. It's bullshit. It should not be. You should not carry it this well. And the problem is, it's falling apart. You know, it's starting to fly apart at the seams. Like that, there was this segment on Raw where he's like beating the shit out of a mannequin and stabbing it with a screwdriver and like pile driving it. And the crowd just died. And they started to realize this really sucks. Because there's only so far you can really take this shit. And yeah. They started to realize, like, could we just kill Seth Rollins, please? And not fuck around with ketchup and mustard? We just fucking kill him? You should want to kill him. Because then Mick fucking Foley comes out. And then he starts talking about what a career ender Hell in the Cell is. And how bad it is. And how you're never going to emerge the same. And then, like, Mick is there. And then Seth Rollins is there. And then Dean Ambrose is there. And they're all standing like 4 feet away from each other. And so you've got Dean Ambrose, who has been chasing Seth Rollins for months, 2 months, with weapons, trying to run him over with a taxi, squirting him with ketchup and mustard and trying to throw paint bombs at him. Okay, strange ways to try to kill a man, but whatever. And now he's just having a perfectly civil conversation with him and Mick Foley. Kill him! Kill him dead, Dean! Why are you talking civilly with this man? Murder Seth Rollins! Murder him! This is dumb. Dean Ambrose, the character, is dumb. I don't like it. Why so serious? Why so stupid? Why so funny? Kill him. It's like, it really is this kind of bipolar type of character. This whole time, he's like, I want to get Seth Rollins in the cell. He's all mine once I get him in the cell. The thing is, you've caught this guy numerous times, and when you catch him, you squirt condiments in his face. You can kill him anytime. God damn it. So he's going to kick his head through cinder blocks. Then the lights go out, and the 80s attack. And then an Iron Butterfly album starts playing backwards. And demonic messages start emitting from the Iron Butterfly album. And then a hologram of the Emperor appears. And tells us that we have a new enemy in Luke Skywalker. And then someone opens the Ark of the Covenant. And then the lights go out again. And then they come back up and Bray Wyatt appears. And then Dean Ambrose stares at him like a moron. And then Bray Wyatt hits a Uranagi. And then Seth Rollins pins him. And the feud's over. That's it. That every indication. Oh my god. It's so. Every indication that I got from watching this, could be wrong, but just from watching the way the match was, from the way Seth Rollins and the other guys were, it looks to me like the whole Rollins and Ambrose thing is over. It looks to me like Rollins got his pinfall. Looks like Ambrose is done with the guy. It looks to me like Ambrose is going to start feuding with Bray Wyatt. Really. Yeah. But after all this time, 3 months, all that ketchup wasted. Seriously, 3 months of blue balls. Was it too much? It was too much to ask, wasn't it? Just to have a match. Just to see the villain get some comeuppance. You know? Just to fucking have a match with a winner. And you know what? It's not that I'm like this huge mark for Dean Ambrose. It's not. I would have been okay with Seth Rollins. You know what? I wanted to see Seth Rollins win. I wanted to see them fucking give Seth Rollins some fucking credibility. They need to rebuild Seth Rollins now. They needed to... God damn, they need to give him some traction. Traction, to say the least. They need to have him start beating motherfuckers and beating them hard. This was horrible. It's one of those endings that's so bad, it I don't want to say it nullifies the match, because it doesn't, but you're just like, it's all you can really talk about, because you're like, wow, that was a really great match, and then that bullshit happened. Ugh. That's all you can say about that match, because it's just bad. It's so weird and bizarre and out of place. You're having this really good match. You're having a great match. You're having this match that we've earned. We have fucking earned it. The audience, fuck Dean Ambrose. We have earned this match through patience. We have put up with some shit. We have put up with 3 months of shit. We put up with this show, which sucked. Let's face it, pretty much all of us tuned into this entire pay-per-view to watch this match. And so, we just wanted to see Dean Ambrose fight Seth Rollins and see who the better man was, you know what I mean? And finally, we'd see these two, there's no escape for this guy, and just have a winner. Have somebody win. And then some fucking gimmick. Just, he can teleport, He teleports into the fucking cell, opens the Ark of the Covenant. Well, I don't know what the fuck that was. We go from this serious gimmick, not even a gimmick. We go from two guys who hate each other, two guys who were like brothers, who had one of the longest, best dynasties of a faction ever. This great story of betrayal. Some guy turned his back on his team, his brothers, his shield, his shield mates, or whatever you want to call it. Finally, this guy gets a chance for revenge, and all of a sudden, magic! What? You can't do that. You can't have a story go from some guy who's, got a contract for a world title match. You can't go from a story about a guy who sells out to corporate authority and a guy who's a rebel, who's defying the authority, finally getting his hands on this guy, to all of a sudden a guy with some kind of lantern that emits a holographic spirit of, I'm presuming, his dead sister. Fuck you. I don't even know what the fuck it was. You've gotta... Do I hate all this or what? Jesus Christ. I know I keep drifting. I'm sorry I keep drifting off into just face palming. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that if I'm incoherent or I keep drifting off or I just fall into lapses of silence. I must have done this at least 1,000 times this entire vlog, but I'm just speechless. I don't know. I don't know how to articulate the feelings of just helplessness and just I'm at my wit's end when it comes to just, what the fuck am I doing? What the fuck are they doing? This isn't what I remember watching, I remember this being... It wasn't that long ago that I remember this being so much better. This isn't something like everything was better back in the day. This isn't... Back in the day was not that long ago. Last year, it wasn't this bad. 6 months ago, it wasn't really this bad. When did this get so fucking bad? This has gotten bad. I'll tell you when it got bad was the launch of the network. That's when it got bad. What happened? That's the problem to solve. Did something happen to the writing team? Or Did something happen to the way they've started structuring pay-per-views or the build of the pay-per-views? Do they not give a shit to the way they structure them? Is that the... Do they not feel like they need to actually deliver on anything due to the complete shift of the pay-per-view model now that they're not technically really pay-per-views? Like no decisive finishes on a pay. I don't fucking know. My head hurts and it's starting to hurt again. That's the show. I got nothing. I got nothing else. By the way, I just so you know, I canceled my renewal to the network. So before you start posting comments, if you don't like it, don't watch it. By December, I'm not. It's over. You know, it's because I got a 1-year subscription. My personal renewal thing is over on December. Not doing it. I can't. If this keeps up, I can't. I'm not going to. So the network thing, done. This sucks. This sucks a lot. But that's the problem, is that just to sum up, is this could be entirely my problem. In fact, probably is a lot of you, probably rightly so, are just going to be pissed at me and say, this was a really good show. You're crazy. These matches were great. And you know what? I'll concede that. You're probably right. You're right. I am either out of touch, or I'm old and I've seen just too much wrestling, or like I've seen these matches. I have seen these matches too many goddamn times. It's not even a factor of being old. It's just that I've seen too much. I've seen it's the same old shit for months, for years. And that's the story. They've been telling that story. That has been the story of the Randy Orton thing. Is how goddamn long they've been wrestling. That has, wow. You know, it's incredible. But I'm watching it and I go, I don't care. You know, pretty much top to bottom around the card is, I look at all these matches and I go, wow, I've seen that for months. That one. I've seen each one of those matches, each one of those feuds every week for months, if not for years, on Raw, the same match. And it's always trading wins on Raw. Back and forth. And it's just the way the WWE books, WWE books that way. Has for years. And I've kind of reached the point with this pay-per-view where I go, you know what? Do I just hate wrestling now? Do I hate the WWE? I don't know what the fuck is going on. I've reached this weird existential crossroads. Wow. This is a really disillusioning show. This has blown my mind. This is probably going to go viral. Like, just disillusioned Spoony. This is going to be like the opposite of It's Still Real to me. Just Spoony is just completely devastated by how shitty this pay-per-view is. I can't believe in anything anymore. No. Migraine Spoony is disillusioned. Okay, I'm rambling. I have been rambling for hours. I'm gonna go. My recommendation, do anything else. Watch some other Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Go watch the Mankind one if you must. Although that one is really uncomfortable as well. Don't watch this piece of shit. Watch something else. Have a good night.